Guys, I got to tell you what I'm really tired of. And it's the idea that if you're enjoying your life or like you're doing things that are exciting and fun, that you're wasting your time. I fell for this idea for literally so long that I thought that in order to prove that I was creating a good life, or in order to prove that I was working hard to achieve something, or if I needed to prove that I was gonna be successful or make something of myself in the world, then I needed to feel the hard. Like it needed to be uncomfortable because everything talks about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And so I felt that I had to work to the point of burnout, that I needed to put more out and create more and produce more and work more and spend more time on it, that like every second that I had available, I should be putting towards the thing that I'm working towards. Because then I'll be able to say, see, look, I'm doing the thing. I'm working hard to achieve the thing. Like from some fake outside perspective looking in on my life, that I can prove that I deserve the thing that I'm working towards because I'm exhausting myself in order to do it. But I just am tired of believing that narrative. I'm tired of believing the hustle culture narrative, honestly. I think that there's a lot of benefits to it, of course. I think that we have to be disciplined and go after what we want consistently and with effort, of course. But I just don't think it's something that we should be killing ourselves over. And unless you feel that way, that you're working tooth and nail to achieve it, that any sort of work at all that you're putting in isn't good enough. I feel like we've just learned as a society, with all of this information being shoved down our throats constantly, to trust exhaustion more than enjoyment. And actually like distrust enjoyment, distrust the idea that if you're having too much fun in your life, then you're not working hard enough in order to create the life that you want to have. But I genuinely am asking the question, what if play isn't the opposite of growth? Because that's how we think about it right now. We think that play means that you're not working to achieve a goal. Play is the opposite of growth. So, what if it's not that? But what if you leaned into your desire for play and that would actually help you grow faster than trying to resist it? If anything in this episode resonates with you, please make sure to rate and review the show. It really does help get episodes out to more like-minded listeners like you and I, who need to live a little bit more wellishly. And it helps me to know what content you guys resonate with the most and want to hear more of, so that I can give you more of what it is you actually need. I also would recommend, if you are someone that loves self-improvement, but does not love the perfection and the rigidity and the needing to do more in order to be good enough vibe that comes with a lot of it, you absolutely are going to want to subscribe. Okay, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to genuinely think about this in relation to the amount that you are working compared to the amount that you are enjoying things in your life. So if you ask yourself, when was the last time you did something that genuinely had no purpose? So some things that I do that genuinely have no purpose are reading for fun. Like I like reading fantasy novels and romances and smut and stuff like that. So genuinely, I don't get anything out of that. I do read 10 pages of self-improvement a day, but I do that to grow and to learn. Like I do that with a purpose. I do that so that I can share what I learn with you guys, so that I can put it in our book club, so that I can talk about different concepts with you, but also apply them to my own life for my own personal growth. So like that would be a purpose, but the fantasy reading, no purpose. Or lately, that's the only thing that I had in my life. Let me say that for like the longest. And before that, I never would read at all because I felt like it was a waste of time. Like, I felt like I didn't have time to read between me spending time with my then boyfriend, me taking care of the podcast, me doing my 9 to 5 job, me taking care of like my health, like with the gym and that kind of a thing. I felt like I had no time. And if I did have any time, I was spending that time rotting on the couch, completely burned out. Something that I just started doing with no purpose is coloring. And I bought markers and a cute little coloring book. And I really like it because the easy coloring pages makes me feel like I've finished something. Cause like those super complex coloring books, I have never finished one page in any of those. So I really like the easy books, the easy markers. It's fun to sit down and do it. But I can't help but notice that when I'm doing it, I do have this voice inside of me, this feeling inside of me that's telling me that I am wasting my time, that I could be putting this time to good use, that later when I'm not getting all of the things taken care of off of my to-do list done, that I am going to regret spending the morning doing that. I saw a video recently of a girl talking about how she has the best morning routine, and it involves getting up, getting herself a cup of coffee, and then going and sitting on the couch and watching something for fun for the first hour or two of the morning. And it fascinated me because we are so drawn to these concepts of optimizing a morning routine and doing the things in the day they're going to set you up for success throughout the rest of the day. And it makes sense to do that. But I just don't think that it makes sense to do it maybe every day, or it doesn't make sense to do it to a point that it doesn't feel good anymore. Like, if getting up and taking care of those things makes you feel good, great. But if you wake up one morning and you just like don't feel like doing it yet, then that's okay. And maybe you spend a little bit of time doing something for fun for you with no purpose before you start moving into all of your purposeful work. When you ask yourself that question, it just makes you realize how often you're doing things because maybe it could become something one day. Maybe you can monetize it. Maybe you'll burn calories. Maybe you'll improve a relationship with somebody if you do it. Maybe you'll meet new people and you'll be able to network. It's like we always have this idea of what we could be doing better to improve and to like ourselves more and to be good enough and to become acceptable for ourselves. I mean, think about if your parents had said to you that you're not allowed to like have fun and play until you become a better kid, a more optimized kid. You get all good grades and you're not getting in trouble at all. And you are in a sport or doing a hobby or part of a club that's going to propel you to having a better college and career life in the future. I had a friend when I was growing up that I went over to her house to play. My mom was driving me over there. And I mean, we were in elementary school, and her parents said that she couldn't come out and play because she had to practice for softball, not softball practice. Like, she was going to the park district to go to her softball practice, but like she had to grind in the backyard with her dad because they were determined that she was going to be a good enough softball player that she was going to get a scholarship and she was going to become somebody. And so they were trying to like prep her early so that that would happen. She had sisters that had happened for, so they were trying to like carry that same thing with her. Newsflash, I don't even think that girl went to college, which is funny because people are going to make their own decisions. And I honestly do feel like she was a little socially stunted in a way. So, like, it didn't end up benefiting her in the long run at all. But that same concept is what we're accidentally doing to ourselves on a regular basis. Like, we are telling ourselves that we're not allowed to enjoy our life until we reach this certain status. Like, unless we get the career, unless we make the certain amount of money, until we live in a certain area, until our life looks a certain way, which is always a way that seems to be in the shitstorm of our mind. Like, it's not like anything clear and concise that we actually allow ourselves to reach the goal. We're always pushing the goal further back. And until we get there, we're not allowed to enjoy our lives. And in the same way, it developmentally would stunt a kid if they were told that they couldn't play until they were as optimized as they absolutely can be and that they don't get to enjoy their childhood at all. It hurts us too. It causes us to not get to experience life to the fullest and keeps us very narrow minded, which doesn't help our overall growth in the long run. I mean, coming back to the kid idea, I think it's the easiest way to think about this because I feel like we are allowed to play as kids and we encourage play. And when people aren't playing, we think, let the kid enjoy their childhood. But at some point, we tell ourselves that we're not allowed to enjoy our adulthood because we have more responsibilities and have to take care of things as we get older. But I think that those two things can happen simultaneously. But I mean, kids learn how to do a lot of things and they learn through this place of fun and trying new things and adventure. Like when I was a kid, I did karate, I did the violin, I did art, I was in cheerleading, I was a figure skater, I did softball, I did soccer. Like there's so many things that I got to try and I got to experience and I learned and had different life experiences that taught me more things because I engaged in that fun activity. Like kids aren't trying to become a world-class artist or try to become a person that's more creative. They're just painting. They're just coloring for the sake of doing it because it's fun. They're not trying to become more confident and do all of the things that would help them become more confident. They're just outside climbing trees and realizing that they can accomplish hard things and do that. And that builds their confidence without them even realizing that that's happening. They're not trying to make sure that they're as strong and resilient as possible. They're experimenting with different things and different ideas and coming up with different games and problems to solve, like puzzles to solve, and seeing how capable they are of achieving those things and what they could do better next time and how they can emotionally regulate so they don't get frustrated when they don't figure that out. It's very much a vibe of figuring things out as you go and that is something that's okay. Play isn't separate from learning. Play is learning. Play teaches us things that we can't think ourselves into. Like when you are trying to reach a goal, if you approach it with the mentality of like, what do I do to reach this outcome? You're coming at it from this very strategic, purposeful, rigid, if I don't do this thing right, then I'm a failure kind of mentality instead of this curious mentality and saying, I wonder what would happen if, oh, that didn't work. This worked. Okay. Curiosity. It teaches you to be more curious, like in how you are approaching situations without judgment for the outcome, but learning new things and putting yourself in the position to try stuff without it meaning something about you. It teaches you confidence because you are putting yourself in the position to fail and overcoming hard things or not doing well and you do fail and you have to work through that and figure out who you are in those situations and how you handle certain things. So you get to build confidence because of play. It teaches you to be more flexible because you're just going based off of what would feel good for you today. And plans change and people change and ideas change. You learn new information. And so you try new things and you're always adapting and evolving. You're not going to rigidly stay with the same thing forever, even if it doesn't work. You are following this idea of fun and trying to enjoy what you're doing to the fullest, that you can be more fluid with your choices. So you learn how to become more flexible. And one of my favorite things that play teaches is it teaches you your identity. And instead of coming at it with the rigid mentality and purposeful mentality of who should I be? Who should I become? What should I do so that I could be this person and the world could perceive me as this way and judge me in this way? You ask yourself, it's not even asking yourself, you're noticing, like you're being the observer of your own life and saying, like, oh, I like this. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, this is something that I want to do more of. This is something I want to do less of. It teaches you your identity because through doing the things that feel good, you notice the things that feel like you. And you know what I really just don't like the most about the idea of doing everything with purpose is that it feels performative. Like it feels like everything you do has to be for a reason, whether it's your own approval or it's society's approval or it's friends or family's approval, something like that. It's like you're always trying to prove something and perform in some way because if you're not performing well, then you might not be liked or you might not be accepted. So instead of painting because you genuinely enjoy it, you're sitting there constantly wondering or feeling like or beating yourself up about not being good at painting. And so that means that you shouldn't do it. If there's no measurable outcome for the things that you do, we feel like we're irresponsible. We don't go on walks because we want to be out in nature and because we want to explore our neighborhood in a different way and feel the air on our skin and the sun on our skin. We go for a walk with our phone timer set for a certain amount of time and try to make sure that we get a certain amount of steps in and do a certain amount of time allotment so that we could get this fitness goal. Like it's optimized instead of just done because we want to do it. We have this idea in our head that we want to go all these places and we're going to do all of these things before we die. And we just inevitably feel like that's going to happen. And one day we're going to have the opportunity to do it. But then we don't prioritize travel. We sit there and figure out all of the other things that we could be spending our money on. We don't just dance because it's fun and it feels good. You stand there and worry if you look stupid. See how like everything comes back to being performative? Like we're doing everything. We've learned to do everything because of the way it would look instead of being curious about just doing that thing for fun. I think we get trapped in this needing to do things with purpose mentality because we've been taught to believe that growth is just building. Like if you were to physically build, like let's just put it in that perspective to make it easier, that if you are going to lay brick by brick down, eventually you're going to have a house. And while that's true, and that is a version of growth, and it is necessary for growth to do the things that you have to do in order to get the end result, it's not just doing that because the truth is, it is as simple as doing the repeated action over and over again and sitting back and watching this play out. Like you can enjoy the time that you're laying the bricks. You can laugh with your friends while you're doing it. You can talk to people. You can take breaks and the bricks are still there. And you can maybe, if you wait long enough between times and you're not consistent enough, it's going to take longer to build the house, or the bricks are going to have wear and tear and you're going to have to replace some areas if you aren't consistently working towards the goal that you want to have. But the basic requirement is just doing that simple thing over and over and over again until you reach your end result. Another way to think about it would be like a flower, okay? Let's say you plant a flower, you're not going to constantly be like replacing the soil and cutting all of the leaves off and putting it in different places around your house and carrying it with you wherever you go. You're going to plant the flower, you're going to put it in the sunny spot that it needs to be in, you're going to water it, and then you're going to let sunlight do the rest of the work. Play is that sunlight, that there is an element to your growth that is just leaving it alone, that is just letting it exist and doing the thing that you're supposed to do, watering it regularly, laying brick by brick, but then leaving it alone and allowing the process to take its course and enjoying your life and doing things during that process, enjoying the process literally itself is going to get you so much farther. It's actually one of the conditions for growth is just allowing yourself to exist instead of white knuckling and trying so hard to get to the end result, the end outcome. And it does that because you're creating the environment where growth actually happens. Like when you're working so hard, you're creating this rigid, complex, constantly changing environment compared to having self compassion and taking it easy and enjoying your life and just being the observer of your life changing. I'm just so tired of the mentality that comes with this lack of play, that we have the idea that every hobby needs to be a side hustle or the hobbies are a waste of time to get you towards your hustle. Like how I was explaining with the coloring, that like when you're doing something with no purpose, there's that voice that feels like you're wasting your time. Or maybe you're going to the gym because you want to look better and it's secretly this form of punishment for you because you don't like what you look like. And so you need to work harder and do more in order to look better so that you can accept yourself and be accepted by other people. Maybe you've watched a bunch of videos online of people going on solo dates. And if you spend your weekend at home in your house, you feel like you are wasting your time or you're wasting your 20s or you're not experiencing life as fully as you could be. Maybe you're beating yourself up about not having more friends or not going more places or not having more experiences. But if you were genuinely honest with yourself, you just feel like staying home. Or maybe this is a period of time that you need to be saving money more. And so you just need to stay at home. Or maybe you just don't have a lot of energy to do those other things. I don't think that we should feel bad about just following what we want to do. Right when I moved home from Florida, I had this moment that I was standing in my living room and it was Saturday, and I recognized that in my old life in Florida, I would have been spending that day drinking and eating and going to different places, sometimes even going from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant, or going to the beach and walking on the boardwalk and going to different shops because I felt like I needed to prove to myself and to the world that I had a full life and that I was doing the most experiencing possible because that would make my life experience well worth it. Like that I wouldn't be wasting the time that I've been given. And while that is fun and true to an extent, like it's nice to be able to experience things if they make you feel good and you want to do it. When I was standing there on that Saturday morning, all I could think was, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I feel happy in this moment with the windows open, having no plans, and just being at home. I made myself food throughout the day. I read my book. I went and sat on my balcony, and I enjoyed Saturday without having to go out and do anything. And it just felt so like me. It felt so like I had this feeling of like my childhood self, hearing the birds and feeling the air. I just felt very grounded within who I was. And that was doing nothing to what we see online and what's considered good enough. So if you feel like you have forgotten what you actually enjoy when nobody is watching, it might be a sign that you need to incorporate a little bit more enjoyment into your life. And if you are so focused on what you could do to make yourself and your life better, it's possible that you don't need another productivity system. You need to be able to connect with you. by giving yourself permission to do the things that feel good and do the things that you really actually want to do, but you put off because you think you should be doing something different. You need to give yourself permission to play and to enjoy your life without thinking that that's going to set you back and mean you're behind and mean you're not going to achieve what you want in life. And through that, through doing what feels good, it will actually start to point you in the direction of where you're meant to go. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, do not believe that your dream life is on the other side of being more efficient. And I believed that so intensely to my core for so long. I loved like Andy Frisella. I loved listening to him, and all of those mentalities really just make so much sense. And they're so straightforward and seem easy to follow and seem simplistic and seem like A plus B equals C, but that's just not life. And life is meant to be enjoyed. It's not meant to be optimized. I think your dream life comes when you allow yourself to become more alive, because the point of growing isn't to become somebody more impressive. We're not doing this self improvement stuff because then we'll finally be good enough. You're good enough now, right now, exactly as you are. So if the point of doing all of this self improvement isn't to improve, what is it for? It's to get to know yourself and to have a deeper understanding of how you operate so that you can navigate the world with clarity and with as much intention as possible towards what you want to do with your own life, and knowing yourself enough to put yourself in the situations that would feel best for you, and to become someone that actually enjoys being themselves. That's it for today's episode. I definitely challenge you to do something this week that has no outcome attached to it. Not because it'll make you better or it's good for your career or it'll make a good Instagram post, but genuinely just because you feel like doing it. And then pay attention to your thoughts and how you feel afterwards, because you might realize that having fun isn't actually distracting you from your growth. It's all a part of it, but you won't know to look for it if you've got that stigma being plowed through your head constantly. Try to focus your attention on how play and adventure and fun and the things you genuinely feel like doing and genuinely enjoy really do help you develop your sense of self, and therefore eventually with time develop how you show up in the world and who you are. If you did make it this far, please, again, I'd really appreciate you leaving a rating, a review, liking the episode, leaving me a comment and saying, hey, that you relate to this, that I'm not the only one that thinks this way. It really would help the Welsh community know that we are less alone. And of course, if you resonate with this idea of not feeling good enough and being tired of working your butt off to try to do everything right so that you finally can, I really recommend subscribing, because that is everything that we are fighting against over here. Really trying to tackle self-improvement without the self-rejection. That is the goal. Okay, I love you endlessly. I hope you have an amazing, aligned, fun week this week. And I will talk to you guys again very soon. Bye.